think that, apparel design for me, it is a business. And if you don't have a good product, you can't sell anything. You can't have a business to make money. So we are really the foundation, I think, in our design programs of the College of Business, because without a design, what are you doing? You don't have anything.
My name is Hadley Kuzman.
Jake Wright.
Leah Hormio.
Ruby Oaks.
My collection is called Flourish.
Amorphous.
Sovereign Ides of the Sanctum.
Off the Vine.
These senior collections represent the culmination of an apparel designer's undergraduate education. Beginning in the fall of their senior year, they bring their collection from concept to runway in 27 weeks. Along the way, they contend with creative, technical, and social challenges that arise at each step of the process. From a design on paper to a flat pattern, from materials on a table to a complete vision on the runway, this is their chance to showcase their creativity and ability to bring their designs to life. But before the first pin touches fabric, they must solidify what they plan to put forward.
A big part of how I design as a designer is the inspiration I see from nature. So for me, that's colors, shapes, silhouettes.
Imagery and colors of like plants and flowers and animals is really beautiful, and I'm constantly, like, when I'm just walking around outside, like finding things that are inspiring to me. I love how these godets kind of look like little flower petals. And I just, like, I enjoy all of the, as you can see, all of these patterns are floral. I just think it's very fun. I grew up on like a very small farm and was just very connected to the natural world, and it's been kind of ingrained in me, so I'm constantly noticing when I'm drawn to design. I've tried doing like functional design before, and it's just not something that I find as exciting.
My process of making clothes is just as fluid as the name Amorphous. It comes from just like playing, and my sketch process is just like using pens and smearing the ink and not necessarily having a clear idea of what I want each piece to look like, but having a clear idea of what each piece is supposed to mean. And so what each piece is supposed to mean in Amorphous is that they can adjust to our bodies. Architecture is definitely the biggest influence in this collection. Playing with like line and structure, and also with the name Amorphous, creating the movement and like flowing skirts or dresses, or using lightweight materials to create a kind of silhouette that is big but still soft and ever-changing.
I was really inspired by the cyclical trends throughout history, specifically the mid-century revival in the 60s of medieval fantasy, as well as the Y2K 2000s kind of resurgence in media. I was really inspired by that. However, I wanted to take it a little step further and make it more personable and kind of eliminate some of the common design elements that might be considered more medieval and turn it into something that's a little bit more modern in my taste. And I feel like I also really wanted to push the boundaries of what can be considered a trend or not.
With the concepts drawn, the time has come to start patterning each garment for the collection. Our designers have their own unique approaches to this initial stage of building their garment.
So you start with just a rectangle of muslin or the sample fabric you're going to be draping with, and then you essentially pin in place how you want the shapes to look. So for this piece right here, I would pin these shapes like this, and then I'd go in with a separate piece of fabric and add this shape in. So I draped this look to get it that way. But you basically pin a panel, draw out the shape you want with Sharpie or pencil, and then that becomes your pattern piece, which then you can cut and sew.
I kind of play around on the mannequin that I have to see the silhouettes that I want to transfer to the patterns that I make. It really is about choosing the correct materials to fulfill that silhouette. Certain weights need to be used for more dramatic flared silhouettes, such as in this look, and then I chose kind of a lighter fabric to be able to hold some heavier top stitching here. So material use is really important, and the way that you cut it and sew it is also really important. Construction really matters.
When I'm playing around, I'll be like, where can I add an adjustment, and how can I play with the body, and how can I create movement while still creating comfort?
Draping and drafting may be traditional, but software has a vital role to play as well.
This when I started in a digital software and kind of like manipulated the patterns there, and you're able to render it, so you can like put in your patterns, you put in the type of fabric. If you have a double layer of fabric, you can like change the physics of the fabric so that when gravity is like reacting with the material, you're able to see like how it drapes on a real human body. But then we go into a lot of prototyping. So once I had like my base patterns kind of figured out, I just started making them in muslin, which is just a plain weave cotton fabric. It's pretty ugly, but it's just really to like understand the fit on an actual body. So like when I created those prototypes, I like didn't have all of these specific details. So like there weren't necessarily this lace. At first when I prototyped this skirt, it didn't have any of these seams because I just wanted to like get the fit correct before I started getting into the fine details. It really depends on the garment that you make, like how many prototypes you need. For the pants that I made, I couldn't even count how many like fit adjustments that I did because pants are very complicated versus this skirt. All that really matters about fit is like making sure that it stays on my model's body, on their waist, so quite a few less prototypes.
The process of patterning their garments has given each designer a plan to bring their designs to life. Careful hours of draping, measuring, and drafting give way to final materials. To put their plans to the test, fabrics are cut, seams sewn, materials dyed, and irons are kept hot to make sure each pleat and stitch can look its best.
This was the first piece that I made of the collection, and this is when I had most of my energy, so like everything on it like is so well finished. The pockets are tucked into pleats that you can't, like it's just everything's nice and hidden, and the straps work flawlessly, and even the zipper too. I feel like we need room for the zipper. It's just everything is so nicely finished, and usually when it comes to a zipper on the inside, like I'll finish it and I'll do it well, but I won't always take the longest time. But I took a long time to finish this. It is this zipper is literally my favorite part of the whole collection, for sure.
I see such like so much growth in myself as like a seamstress, like being able to piece things together and like sew straighter lines and things like that.
Naturally dyeing, it may seem pretty simple, but it's quite an extensive process. Before you can even start dyeing, you have to start with something called galnut. So you rest the fabric that you want to dye in galnut, and then you wait 24 hours and transfer that to allium. And then you wait another 24 hours, and after that, you get your dye bath ready. And depending on what dye you use, you either have to brew it like tea for 24 hours or wait even longer. This is the base fabric I started with for most of my bottom looks. Then this is indigo. It's created in a vat, which is made with bananas, and then it creates a dye. So when you put it in, it seals, and then when you pull it back out, it creates this really beautiful blue color. This gray was discovered through marigold, so it was dipped in iron after it had been dipped in iron previously.
A part of sewing that I do not like is pinning. I will rarely pin. I would rather loop the fabric around my fingers as many times as I can and then let it slowly release to the sewing machine than have to pin it, just because I feel like it gives me more flexibility when I'm working. And also, there's nothing like a pin going under the needle of a sewing machine and then like getting bent into a V, and it just like, I don't know, it just annoys me. It's like one of my icks.
All of these are lined, and to be able to sew in a lining to just this part, I had to have this entire like bottom part of this shirt and the sleeves tucked in between the two layers as I sewed it together to make it like a seamless look. Understanding the order in which you're supposed to do things is definitely, like, I would say one of the most difficult parts of creating something.
Last term was very time intense, and I did that to myself. But between natural dyeing and sewing the reversible, I ended up sewing 18 pieces, 9 pieces, but each is double-sided, so 18 pieces, and each one was naturally dyed.
Once the garments fit the dress form, it's time to fit them to a model. Designers are able to select their models from over 200 potential candidates in order to match their collection's direction. These models come from all over Oregon State University to chase the fleeting feeling of the flashing light.
When people are wearing my pieces in this collection, I want them to feel empowered and I want them to feel comfortable. It's actually kind of funny. Yesterday I had my photo shoot to document all these pieces, and one of my models I was assigned is a man, and I'm pretty sure he's a straight man, but I put him in the dress, and he was walking around, and at one point I was like, how do you feel? Like, there's a lot of people around here on campus, and like, I can see the eyes on you, and I'm sure you can feel the eyes on you. And he's like, yeah, it's weird walking around in a dress and everybody kind of just like staring you down, because that's not typically what you would see. And I'm like, how does that make you feel? And fortunately, he's open to the experience of feeling a little bit uncomfortable and trying something new. But he said it was cool to try something that he would literally never wear by himself, but embrace the opportunity. But he said it was comfortable, and I don't know, he said that was a good experience overall.
I liked seeing all the different types of people coming to try and have a unique experience like I was.
I really enjoy the fitting part of it. At first, I think fitting is like, it's more about understanding how to see problems than it is about like how to solve them, because you need to be able to identify like the solutions that need to be made. And while prototyping is not the most exciting part of the sewing process, I think that it's a big learning.
A well-fitted outfit truly shapes how its wearer feels.
I want them to feel free.
Powerful, like I can be confident, like I am a woman, like I get to be super cool, like this is my moment to express who I am through clothing, which is really cool.
It's not just about the clothes on your back, it's about like obviously the feeling, right? The feeling of you can actually accomplish things and do what you want to do.
It makes me feel like confident, like, oh wow, I have a nice outfit on, I'm like, okay, just walking down the street, I have everything put together, I feel like my life's more put together, like I actually plan something. Really, it's like a unique experience, I would say.
Oh, I do this thing where like I shake my hands a lot. It's like an energy ball of just excitement.
When people are wearing my pieces in this collection, I want them to feel empowered and I want them to feel comfortable.
I want people to feel really excited and fun and passionate and expressive within themselves. I want them to, in a sense, discover an aspect of themselves when they're wearing my garment. I want them to feel empowered and comfortable in their body.
One specific thing that brought me to fashion and design as a whole was embracing my queerness, and also Drag Race. Love Drag Race so much. I came out as gay my freshman year of high school, and at that point I didn't have any creative outlets. I didn't really know how to process it. Everything was changing so fast, not only just like in my academics, but also in my personal life. And I came across this video of Violet Chachki at the time when she was walking runway on like a design challenge, and she was wearing this red plaid hat with this black sequined like bodysuit dress, and then on the runway she did a reveal where she like unwrapped it and it like turned into this like just fully plaid outfit, and like I was shocked by seeing that. I'd never seen anything like that before. And there was just like this moment of watching that video where it's like I need to sew and I need to do it right now. And then I got myself a machine, and I literally just started cutting up all of my clothes. And it was a disaster for a while. It wasn't like this, but that was definitely how it started.
These are my childhood sketches, I guess, or high school sketches. I hold these designs very near and dear to my heart, 'cause it's kind kind of what started my journey. I joined the theater department for my high school, and I never wanted to be an actor or on stage, but I fell in love with costume making. And my sophomore year, I tried out to be the head costume designer, and I got it and was nominated for a Bobby G. I did it all 4 years of high school, and that's why I applied to OSU to continue growing as a designer.
I always kind of knew I wanted to go into fashion. I was a little bit scared that it wouldn't be quite a feasible career for me, but may as well try. It kind of first started when I was little and I was around 11, and my grandma was really into sewing, and I oversaw a project that she did, and she decided to have me make my Easter dress with her, and that just really incited that passion that I knew I already had, but the actual physical making of garments was something that I also found I really enjoyed, so I knew that that was something worth pursuing, and that would be kind of a part of the rest of my life.
Something about fashion specifically that really inspires me is that I think it's an art form that really like transcends all language and cultural bounds. Like when you see an art piece that someone has created to wear, I think it's something that like anyone can really appreciate. And also clothing is an incredible tool that we all use every day, and it's such a big part of everyone's lives, whether they realize it or not. I mean, if you're just like wearing a uniform every day, some like thought and care went into creating that and designing that, and I think it's a really fun way to express creativity. That like even if you're buying a plain t-shirt, it might become their favorite t-shirt, and someone's hands touched that, someone drew that and designed it, and I just think it's really like fun thing that people maybe overlook sometimes.
For a project like this, being able to add embellishments and details brings together the vision of the collection.
I have a lot of fun with the details in this look that I have out in front of me. It's titled Ravenna, and I really enjoy how I recreated a wingspan with individual leather fringe and silk tassels. And I enjoy the little metallic details that I integrated throughout my collection. I have this little kind of bell tassel here that connects with the side detail and feather. For the look on my left here, I really enjoyed the beaded back details. All of these were sourced from the thrift store, and it has this really fun icicle trim that has a really nice noise.
I think this is probably my favorite piece, my favorite bottoms piece, just because each of these godets took quite a bit of time. And my friend who's modeling for this her hair is pink, so it was really fun. I knew instantly that I wanted her to be my model and that it was going to work out really well. Color-wise, I also really love this jacket just because the colors are so pretty and it's so easy to turn inside out. This is my favorite color of all time, so to be able to actually make that happen through natural dyeing was really fun. Overall, I think just the fact that you can turn all of them inside out and it's 2 pieces of clothing for one, I really enjoy.
There's something about top stitching specifically that I just love when it comes to finishing. That is kind of like my finishing touches of a garment. Like when I'm finishing up the side seams, I'll do my top stitching. Frankly, when I see clothes out and about and it doesn't have top stitching on it, some I don't know, ateliers and couture, like they won't do top stitching, which is fair enough, but I love to see it. It also just adds this degree of durability for me where I know that everything is kind of locked in its place. This like chiffon jacket, this is the second iteration of it. The first one I did, I just serged the insides, but you could see all the overlocked threads, and I hated that, so I cut out a whole new piece and then I French seamed it, which French seaming is when you sew a seam the wrong side out and then you flip it back over so the nice and clean side is on the inside and the outside. It's kind of confusing, but it made the whole piece look a lot better, but I didn't want to do that, and I was also sick when I was working on this, so I was just kind of frustrated. I'm like, I'm snotty, I have a headache, I'm very delusional, and I'm just trying to finish this piece because it's due next week and I have no other choice. Yeah.
Something that was really fun, I found this lace at an estate sale, and it actually is like, I guess maybe like 2 inches wide, and I ended up cutting it into 3 strips, so all of this like trimming here is the outer edges of this lace, and this is the center of it. And I thought that was just a fun way to be able to use the entire, or all of the materials that I found. Actually ended up getting lucky and finding 2 of the exact same types of lace in different colors. So there's also this green lace that also just helps keep the collection really cohesive, but just kind of a fun detail that you would maybe not see unless you were the one who made it.
The final step before the runway presentation for our designers is a presentation for industry professionals. The apparel design program has a myriad of alumni across the fashion world, and before these garments can walk the runway, our designers must present their garments to these alumni. Afterwards, these experts will decide on various awards including Best Construction, Most Creative, and Best in Show. These presentations are an incredible opportunity for these designers to springboard their careers.
Yeah, so there was kind of a little bit of trial and error. I think you can kind of see the difference in maybe some of the construction of some of them. This was the first one I did, so what I originally did was sewed the 2 garments and then sewed all of the seams together separately and then connected them on those same seams, like top stitching. But then as I kind of moved along with Allie, it became a much more smoother transition where I'm sewing things in and then flipping them inside out and kind of fixing some of the construction that way. So there's definitely a little bit of growth. And then the last was Romy's, where I ended up pinning the seam allowance together.
I was really obsessed with the godets and princess seams, and I decided that I really wanted to incorporate those into my entire collection. So as you can see, there's a lot of kind of motifs in a way, like all of the designs have princess seams, even the pants have those center seams. And I just really wanted to make it very cohesive.
I learned that it can be really tricky to get things to look how you envision them to look on a real body.
I did like a little zigzag stitch and then I just trimmed it. I really like it doesn't weigh the fabric down at all. Thank you. Thank you. My machine ate the fabric a few times, so yeah.
Beyond sharing technical details and process notes, the Critique Day is an opportunity to share their work and perspective with a new audience who has not been with them these past months.
It's really important for me as a designer to make sure that I kind of have a greater purpose of what I'm creating, which is why I chose 2 secondhand materials. I really feel like sometimes we can think environmentally responsible means something new, whether that's a new material, new process of creating something, and we kind of leave behind all of the things that already exist on our planet.
This collection was a lot of fun to work on. I felt it really embodied myself and what I was interested in, and I loved researching just certain elements that I already would research, and being able to put that into something physical was really beautiful, and I really enjoyed that. And I had a great time along the way in the process. I think it was something that I would not change or take back for the world, and I had a great time.
I am very proud of this whole collection, but it was a huge help for Marianne to get everything dyed. I definitely would not have been able to pull that off without support from all of my teachers. Thank you.
Studying fashion in 2026 comes with the knowledge that fabric and clothing waste is a pressing issue worldwide. Donated and discarded clothing often goes unsold and ends up in places like South America, Africa, and Asia, where clothes are left with their tags intact. Textile recycling only addresses a minimal amount of waste, with almost all textiles being discarded and a few making their way to recycling facilities. Our designers have sourced their materials with this global issue in mind, working to use materials that already exist instead of buying new.
A big part of my collection is using repurposed materials, so I would say everything except for the denim on this has been found secondhand. This especially secondhand. I used to work at a craft store with old quilt ladies, and they were getting rid of fabric, and they were like, oh my gosh, do you want this? I'm never gonna use it, but we see the stuff that you make, so maybe you would. And I'm like, well, yes, of course I want this. This is beautiful. And it's been sitting in my collection of fabrics literally for the last 4 years. And so when it came to making this collection, I was like, this is what it needs to be a skirt. It needs to be in this collection. And like, I just could not be happier with it.
I'm using entirely secondhand materials. I really wanted to highlight that sustainable design and environmentally responsible design has a lot of different looks. I think there's like a misconception that when you're creating something that is better for the planet, it means using natural materials, natural dyes, but I think we kind of lose sight of the fact that we have so much already on our planet that we can use to create things. So I spent about like $30 total on all of my materials because I just like found everything in our materials lab upstairs or at thrift stores, because I really wanted to highlight just the beauty in found materials and how we have so much waste and ways to create things that we don't always need to make something new. I think when maybe you look at this, you're not like, oh, this is a sustainable collection, which is kind of the point, is that I'm trying to show that there's a lot of beauty in the things that will get thrown away and will eventually become trash, and we're able to create such beautiful art pieces with materials that already exist on our planet. So
seeing my models walking down the runway and all the finished clothes at the end of the year is going to be really emotional, because it's going to be this like big homecoming of all the work that I've been putting in all year, and all the work that I've been putting in over the course of my college career is coming to an end in a really beautiful way. Yesterday I was doing my photo shoot and watching all of my models on the seamless backdrop posing together. It was kind of surreal, where I'm like, okay, wait, I actually love the work that I've been doing. Everything is really coming together. Everything fits perfectly. It doesn't feel like a disaster. And then there's just like this like overwhelming warmth where I'm like, oh, like I've done it, and I feel proud of the work. And now I can move on.
Really excited to see just it all come together. There are so many talented people in our cohort, and I've seen so many amazing things, and I know they're not finished, so it'll be really exciting to walk with everyone as a whole and see it come to end. We don't have any classes together this term. We finished our degree last term, so it'll be kind of like a family reunion almost.
The runway is ready, and it's time for one final rehearsal before the audience takes their seats. For our designers, months of work have led to this show. The sense of accomplishment is palpable as they start to see it all together. To put on the best possible show, the models test their walks, timing, and spins that bring the runway to life.
I'm really excited. I'm nervous because I gotta walk in front of like a bunch of people. Hopefully I don't trip and fall on my face. Knock on wood. But it's good that we've had to practice, and everybody's great. They've been helping me out. So I'm like, okay, I feel good about it. Cool to see just all the designs together with all my peers and the designers as well, and like real serious production. So I'm just super excited.
It's like a full circle moment, and I'm so excited to see all my peers and see all of our work go down the stage.
Fashion shows at Oregon State University have been an ongoing tradition for decades. Past shows have featured themes such as recycled fashion, secondhand or unusual materials, and HIV/AIDS awareness. For some audience members, attending the Spring Fashion Show is a tradition spanning years. Others are attending for the first time, hoping to support friends and family, see exciting new ideas, or gain inspiration. Having finished their last rehearsal, final preparations are in full swing backstage. Last-minute details are solidified, and loose threads are cleaned up to present the best version of these collections. Limitless represents not only the culmination of a year of work, it also serves as a capstone for each designer's undergraduate study, and a reminder of how far they've come as artists.
you're not a robot, you're not a machine. Very important to take care of yourself so you can take care of everyone else around you as well.
Like, at least for me personally, this was the first kind of original thing that I've created, and it's fun to see how I've grown and just being able to experiment and expand on my own personal design style. I'm really excited to have something to look back on years to come, just a little snippet of my life.
It seems really hard when you're in those weeks when you're completing it, but getting here, being here, seeing everyone's hard work come to life, it's all worth it.
Try hard and do your best work, and don't give up even when you're in the studio and it's 5 in the morning and you've been there all night and you are seeing the sunrise. Just keep going because it will be worth it.
Alright, we have our final award. This award is the best collection overall. This collection, it truly stood out as the most unforgettable with its careful design and powerful impact. The best collection overall goes to Jane Red!
Gosh, I just won Best in Show, and I am shocked and so happy and so grateful and unexpected. I'm so grateful.
The fashion show is a celebration and a showcase of just 9 months of work. But these students have spent 4 years honing their craft in pursuit of something more.
I was asked maybe last week, like, what is my dream job? And I can't really say that I have one. I love creating things, and I want to continue being creative, but I more so care about what impact I'm making on the people around me. Just knowing that whatever I'm working towards is bigger than I am.
This industry is highly competitive, as most design spaces are, and I really want to move back home to Colorado. So right now I'm looking for jobs. Thankfully, I have a double degree in apparel design and product merchandising management, so it'll be a little bit easier for me to start in a merchandising role, potentially go into designing. Ultimately, I think I'd like to end up there as a designer, but for right now, kind of want to get my foot in the door, start making some industry connections, and then see where life takes me.
A creative director down the line of getting experience. I think that I really enjoy the process of bringing a project to life, and more so I think it'd be fun to explore my love for that in other areas as well. Even though I'm very much inclined and love fashion, I feel like it'd be interesting to work for a brand that maybe has other activities they do as well, and seeing the creative vision and overseeing that would be really fun and satisfying for me. So I hope that I can explore that and get well connected to find a position to be doing that.
In my future has been kind of changing a lot, kind of like the title of the collection, Amorphous, kind of outlines my entire life. I feel like I try to leave room for things to change and to evolve. And so when I first came to Oregon State, I was going to be dead set on commercial apparel. I was going to go be a designer for some company doing just creative work. But as my time here at Oregon State has progressed, and I'm working in the archives now, and I'm working on the senior collection, and I'm working at the craft center, I'm meeting all these cool people, and I'm learning the importance of public arts and making art materials accessible, falling in love with the history of fashion and how clothing over time has influenced society. And so now I'm changing from commercial apparel to like costume design and going into like the performing arts, I feel like that tells a story, and I want my clothes and my pieces to tell a story. So now I'm gearing up to try to get into costume design and performing arts, working in public arts for whatever city I am living in, to try to bring art into a more public domain so everybody can experience it equally and accessibly.
I really, like I've said before, I just like making an impact, and so like I've shifted my like job searching to companies that I think like align more with my values in terms of sustainability and environmental responsibility. But I really just want to find a community and feel like I'm making a positive impact. I think maybe one day if I were able to create my own clothing and be able to like sell it, that would be such a fun thing. I used to think I wanted to do like wedding dresses because I love the details, but ultimately I think I could find joy in any aspect of the industry, just knowing that I am doing something that's bigger than myself is most important.